Hi, and welcome to this episode of I'd Tap That. We went over the details of the name a couple episodes ago, but I don't think there's any other jokes that we can come up for I'd Tap That. So today we are here with Sean as well as with Kevin. Kevin has a special little rant for us today. Now, what's your rant about there, Kevin?
It's about how the quality of Magic seems to have gone down since I started playing it. So it's essentially an old person rant.
Right on.
So we have a get off my lawn, you kids rant.
I've been playing it longer than you guys, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's my thought.
I've on and off. You know, I mean, it hasn't been for like the last 4 years.
99.
Yeah, mine's been on and off, you know.
I started, that's about when I started. I stopped playing in like 2001, 2002,
Okay.
so.
Right.
I've been pretty...
It's about the same then.
I don't know. So, I think I'm going to let you hijack the show for a little bit and do
Right
your
now?
rant. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, so when I started playing Magic, one of the huge draws to it was just the lore and the nature of the world itself, which I think that perception of it has shifted a bit. It's more about like focusing on planeswalkers, which I don't like. They started out a cool idea and then it went in a direction that I didn't care for. Now with that, and there's also like the different sets that come with cards, like the sets will have like card sets inside of them that they're all supposed to work together. Now there were themes in some of the older cards where you can tell they're connected, but it doesn't say in the card text, these cards work better when they're used together. But more importantly, what I want to focus on is power scaling. The direction that Magic has gone, it's been more offensive, and it's less tact. It's more just get the cards out and bash damage. And especially with the introduction of mythic rares, something has a better effect for its mana cost just because it's a mythic rare or a legendary than, say, a common would. So you end up getting larger effects for cheaper prices, and this can be easily seen with the boon cards, which I'm sure I'll go over later sometime in the future. But essentially, what I'm getting at is Lightning Bolt. You pay one red, deal 3 damage. That actually was the standard when Magic started, but they decided it was too powerful. So it went to Shock, do damage for 1 mana, makes sense. But then recently they brought it back. That's fine, I guess. But the issue where I start to have with the power scaling with these adjustments is that it's not done evenly or fairly. Right now, the standard for a counter spell is cancel, right? Pay 2 blue and a colorless, cancel target spell.
I think the current one that they're kind of doing now is like a dissipate, where it's counter target spell, scry 1. Scrying is the new popular mechanic now.
Okay, well, whatever happened to just normal counter spell? I end up paying 1 mana more for the exact same effect.
Well, when you're doing that, you've got your counter spells. I mean, but those are, it all boils down to, 2 things now. Well, 3 things actually. Standard, modern, legacy.
Right. And another example, it's the exact same situation. Right now, the standard is monstrous growth. Pay a green and a colorless for a +4/+4, whereas it used to be monstrous growth, pay 1 for +3/+3. I'd much rather...
Giant growth.
Yeah,
giant growth is what the standard used to be.
Sure.
Right.
And I'd much rather have that, personally. But
then again, you had like spells like Rancor, which was a permanent enchantment, 1 green mana, you get +2 permanently and trample to your creature too. So
right. Doesn't Rancor come back to your hand after the creature dies too?
I don't know about Rancor.
Yes.
What set is it?
Yep.
It was
it Worldwake or was it?
I don't know.
Zendikar?
God,
or Rise of the Eldrazi? I think it's one of those.
Anyways.
It came out, I remember when I was in college. That's all I remember.
Okay. Well, the point is, power scaling is a thing. I don't like it. I don't like the direction it's going. I wish there was a more even distribution throughout the cards and the sets. And that's my opinion that nobody asked for.
Well, we kind of did ask for it.
You kind of did, but you didn't know what direction I was going to go.
But that's okay. I mean, and...
You asked me to surprise you.
There we go.
Could have been worse. Have you played Magic at all lately?
No, let's see. Played briefly, most likely a year and a half, 2 years ago. But I see what you're saying, and I hear the validity and like I'm with you at the very end, maybe a little bit. My thing is what I love about Magic, and that even though I am not an avid player, I am not someone that knows like the intricacies at any level whatsoever. What I do love is the fact that it has been put in a position where it's becoming more accessible. And it's something that when it was first explained to me, I kind of started to blink and like the words all started running together, and I was amazed that people understood what they were saying. My kids, I wanted them, they were what are the cellar dwellers. Yeah. They were down in my basement all day long by themselves and like basically hated other people. Magic brought them out. And it was because of how accessible it is now and how I think even as an old school gamer, I mean, I'm a video gamer by far. We were playing Pathfinder last night. As an old school gamer, having it easily accessible, and I know that part of that means a dumbing down process. And Magic has actually got some process built in there where the old school guys, your OG guys, actually you can go back and enjoy that process, but it's really nice for these new cats to be able to jump in, right, and get moving.
I was actually going to mention that. That's a trend right now, especially with Wizards to the Coast.
Yeah.
They went to, like, the more accessible, what's more like video games right now. They did that with 4th edition.
Yeah, definitely.
And now they're trying something different.
Right.
And the idea is, and that's where the marketing plays in, and knowing your market, they still made money. They knew that they had to bring in fresh people, and they did so. They're afloat. They can continue making fantastic products. So there is that credit to it. I just wish it could have been done differently.
Sure, and I think that a lot of I have to say from like my perspective, I stopped playing, like I said, 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. And I started, I think the first set I bought was 2013 core. So it was literally at least 10 years since the last time I played. And I was able to, well, you remember, I was able to sit down. I, spent a couple hours building a few decks, got some cards and stuff. And I was able to make a competent deck that was able to, go up against and, play evenly against someone like, I look at you, Logan, because that, you just didn't stomp me. I did pretty well. And so I think that's, I would think overall that's a good thing. I was never terribly good when I played back in the day.
Were any of us?
Probably
when we first started?
Probably not.
I would have been awesome.
Okay. Sorry, Sean.
Well,
I don't need to speak for you. I apologize.
It works. Okay.
It's my story. Just let me have a moment, please. Come on, man.
Moment's over.
Thank you for taking everything away from me. That's great. He's awesome at this.
He is.
See, it's what we do to each other as nerds. We have to. It's all about one-upsmanship.
Yes.
It is. Whoever has the last laugh.
Last laugh or the best card. I mean.
Yes.
The last hit point. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
It does.
Somebody the other day was watching. I think it was like the Fast and the Furious movies, right? And it said, that whole thing by Dom, where is, whether you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. I saw that in a Magic game, and somebody had quoted that same thing, and the guy was on the other side who, just lost to this guy with I think it was like 60-something, he had 60-something life, right? And guy goes, no, that's crap. He goes, it's just your way of saying, hey, man, I've gained all my life, I've done my cushion, now I smite you.
Well,
but
definitely when you're on the losing side and your opponent has 60 life over you and you have 0, you definitely feel a little bit worse about it than if they have 5.
What's better is when you're running an alternate win deck. You don't care about life totals. If I'm running a mill deck and I'm just destroying their deck, they'll lose the game at like 50 life.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, I'm barely hanging on, but I got you first.
Right.
It's true.
All right. Now let's bring it into this then. We've all had those, no matter what game we're playing, the sore losers.
Inevitably.
You know.
Yes.
We have all had that from, I'm sure from Pathfinder to, even video, you say you play, how many times do you have somebody rage quit online, I mean, and what's your thought on people that want to, give up early or, just throw up their hands and say, I quit?
I think that's pretty much a universal no one likes you kind of thing, because, I mean, I don't know, like, me personally, like, just, I guess I'll use video games as an example, especially, like, I'm one of those people that, I'm okay. I mean, I rate from mediocre to maybe pretty good. But
Depends on how bad the lag was.
Right?
But
Dang server.
I just do not have the intestinal fortitude like some people do to master a video game usually, which, I mean, it's not just about, like, with a tabletop game, it is essentially a, well, you can sort of label it a scholarly activity. Basically, you read a book over and over again, you compile all of your information from all of your books together, and you're like, wait, this fits together here, this fits together here, and then, you build your character as an ungodly, monstrous killing machine,
It's okay.
And, just Pathfinder, is a decent example of this. In a video game, you have to do things like, you build up your reflexes, you're building that
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory, thank you. And
Surprisingly, hours of practice.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a fighting game.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
totally. And so I say this to not, downplay, people that are good at these sorts of games, because it does require a lot of practice to be good at. I just can't do that.
Right.
It's just like,
I fall into a different camp on that because when there's that kid that's online that is griefing me, that is just having a good time making me into his highlight film. All right, I can get mad about that, but I know I can jump out of that room, and if he follows me in another room, I'm a grown adult, and I'm fully capable with a credit card to buy a plane ticket anywhere to go to his house and beat him half to death. But with that said, though, usually I don't have to deal with that, so that's okay. There's
Right.
something very intimate and very... When my sons, we were playing Boss Monster, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one. It's a card game. Doesn't have mana, but very, very similar to Magic. And I'll have to bring it to you.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Great game. One of the things, and I think he learned this from playing Magic with people like y'all, who I have come to hate. And it's something like whenever someone plays something, you immediately counter it and then laugh in their face. And after
That's
about
about right,
50
yeah.
times of that, basically I'm looking at my own son like, I will carve you up and serve you right next to the Christmas ham. I want to hurt you right now. And even though that's the same level of grief that I would take on a video game, when he's right there. Like, I can touch him. He's right there, and he's giggling, and that laugh, and that especially if they're not laughing, that smug, like that look right there, like, yeah,
Sure.
go ahead, play another
played-
card. I'm gonna crush it.
he plays blue, so he knows exactly what you're talking about. And
that's what it's all about.
that look from him I often get is... And then I get, you mad? Table flip!
And so there's the part of it that is like, okay, I'm receiving the grief, and we're all like universally, no, we hate it. But at the same time, you have set up a deck to universally deliver said amount of grief.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Kind of making you special.
Well, yeah, it definitely, see, it's really, I think what we're really discussing here are trolls.
He's got someone there like, not
Trolls. Oh, no, what we're discussing are trolls, really.
Yeah.
And really, that, that's, we all use the internet. We know what they are and what they do, and we all to a degree, I don't know.
Do
I
not feed the trolls.
I-
Yo.
Well,
really, bro.
there's trolls and then there's sore losers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure,
trolls I can deal with because those are.
Yeah, it's
most
just
of
like
those are
don't
funny.
feed the troll, just ignore them.
Yeah.
The sore losers are the people that just ruin the game for you because of how they act.
Like when I'm turn 3 and I've got because I play elves. I know I'm a bad person. I know, shame on me.
They're like slivers.
Yeah,
They really are.
right. Elves, slivers, herpes, syphilis.
They're
those same
everywhere.
Things.
I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we got here.
But right. But with elves, I mean, by turn 3, if I'm doing well enough, I can have enough mana out to pull pretty much anything I
You
want.
destroyed me the other night doing that.
I did. Sorry, ish.
You didn't even get to see the full potential.
That's okay. we can play later.
Okay.
That's what it's about.
Right.
Revenge.
I mean, and then
Sorry, not sorry.
It's like I had a bad hand. Wait until next game.
Yeah, that's right.
right. But the fact is when I've got somebody on turn 3 that instead of waiting for that turning point, because they could very well overtake me, they could have Oblivion Rings, they could have murders, they could have Doomblades, whatever.
You could have really bad draws.
Right. I could have bad draws after that. Instead of seeing it through, good game, I quit. It's like, no, because your skill in Magic definitely does not come from your wins. It comes from your losses. It comes from how much you take, the beating that you take before. It works on the Saiyan principle. Each battle I take, each battle,
it'll
each
come back
fight.
stronger.
You're right.
Okay. Yep,
I mean,
alright.
it
Right on.
because when you lose, it shows where your holes are. When
Yeah.
you lose, it shows where your strategy is missing. By winning every game you play, that doesn't show you anything. It gives you a false sense of confidence and security.
It means you have too much money to buy the right cards.
Nowadays,
Nowadays,
yes.
a tournament scene, yes, unfortunately.
I mean, I can list off a few of them that are still expensive. That they're in the modern block, but they're still expensive. I mean, you got Karn Liberated, which is one of your planeswalkers that you despise.
Actually, I like Karn, but that's because
Oh.
it's a callback to an older.
Okay.
Generation.
Well, it's still Planeswalker. That's
Yeah,
what I'm getting at. You've got Emrakul.
Yep, Eldrazi.
You've got
Yeah.
Linvala, Keeper of the Silence. Like her ability, I don't know if you know it, but her ability negates every other ability on the field.
Of course.
Yes.
I gotta see that. That doesn't
she's
sound right.
she's a $35 card. She's an angel. She's a flying angel. Of course.
Okay,
How else do
right.
you have an angel?
Right.
And then another one that I'm going to bring up, but this one's in standard right now. Archangel Athun. Avacyn. Avacyn's not in standard anymore. She's modern, but Avacyn gives
yeah, they changed it.
indestructibility. Do what?
I was thinking of how they changed what's in standard now because of the new core sets.
Well, they always rotate, and when
Well,
things
yeah.
rotate, it throws things off so bad. I mean, for me, it takes money to be a standard player. That's my thing. Modern, I will go pick up cards for 10 cents all day, 10, 15 cents all day, and make something good. But standard, if you want, like some of the dual lands are, $9, $10 a piece. And which to me, give me a gate. It does the same thing. I might not be able to scry and I might not have to pay 2 life, but it does the same thing and it's like 10 cents.
Mm-hmm.
On second thought, give me a shiny one. We'll kick it up to 50 cents,
Ooh.
I know,
Big
right?
spender.
Right?
spender.
But the fact is for me, it's not how much I spend on my deck. It's what I put into it, how much time I spend with it, how much.
The investment.
It's not the financial investment.
Right.
It's the
The personal
Yeah.
investment. Yes.
Playing it, going, okay, this doesn't work. I want to try this. This works. Okay, I'm going to move back to this. Yeah, I mean, I know somebody that, they'll slap their deck down. This is $350 worth of cards. Okay, somebody spills a pop. What are you going to do? Right?
I've seen that happen.
That's sad.
Someone bought a Ruby Mox, Alpha Ruby Mox.
Oh.
They took it out of the sleeve for one moment during the purchase, and someone had like Kool-Aid for some reason, knocked it over on the counter, made the card worthless. And the guy spent like all summer working and saving up, and it's just like, I got to witness this. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
That's sad when that happens.
It's tragic.
Yeah, I mean, that's like if somebody were to, spill something on a Black Lotus, I would probably form a mob and hunt them down.
There would probably be people that could
like
do, that would do
I think
that.
it's like a $5,000 card.
In pristine condition alpha.
That's the correct look.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
that's the virgin look. When somebody buys that card, you look at them and be like,
Never seen that.
Never.
No relationships, nothing like that.
Oh,
Not necessarily. I mean, there's
Okay.
that stigmata that gamers cannot get relationships of any kind.
That's not
that
true.
Nerds are secluded. I was about to say that. It's not true.
Right.
Almost every single person that I know that LARPs is in a relationship.
And we drag our significant others to LARP with us.
Right.
and that's part of the reason why it works is because
Exactly.
they know, and they know when getting in. Yes, he has the capacity to buy a $5,000 card.
Right.
However, if
he
you if that's where you're opening the relationship at, well, I'm just saying.
You got to ease them in gently.
Well, either that or you purchase said $5,000 card and no one ever sees you again.
Yeah, well, it's a,
Right.
It's like,
I mean, or it's you buy the $5,000 card and then you buy a really nice $5,000 ring, something like that.
oh, it better be
you know.
10,000 if you're
Yeah.
spending 5 on a card.
Yeah, you better double that.
and
you
at
know.
this point, I need you to give me a couple donations for a couple organizations that I'm talking about starting. Because if you got 10 grand,
Yeah.
they're like,
Right.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I do fire arts and all that other stuff, and there's a piece of me in the back of my head that is just still screaming from my childhood of, oh, you can't LARP because people will make fun of you. But then I'm like, but I'm 6'3".
You're right.
I can do what I want now, and and the people the people I'm around are more accepting. My wife didn't know me in that way, so I didn't really fall back in love with that and the geeky side of me until I was much older. And so now I have a spouse who looks at me, getting all dressed up to light myself on fire, and she's like, "You are so stupid."
Yeah, but see, she still supports you in that hobby, though, right?
Only because we've got insurance.
That's fair.
Hey,
You know?
That's good. That's
whatever
good.
makes it work.
I would love to be in a situation where I could buy a $5,000 card and not have to duck when I walked in the house.
Well, sure.
Well, that's just it. You just,
From gunshots.
yeah, or from anything. I mean, she'd take your own cards and start
Use
trying
some
to paper cut.
shortcuts.
Yeah,
Death by paper cut.
this is what you get for buying the high dollar card sleeves. Wow. Dragon Shield this. Yeah.
But in that kind of thing, though, I mean, there's all ways to take that too. I mean, you have that kind of thing. I mean, I see just in the world of LARP or the MES. I mean, people can spend
Costuming, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
can get ridiculous that way. I mean,
Honestly, you're doing something wrong if you're making money out of your hobby, or you're doing something very right. Most
Yeah.
of the time, you're in the former category. If you're you play Warhammer, right?
sure, I do.
How much do you spend on Warhammer?
This is something we discussed last time in our last episode.
Oh,
I
well.
have probably. I started playing Warhammer in
Didn't you say that
1998.
Yeah, didn't you say that you spent
And
too much?
I have spent probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, from that entire time till now, probably $2,000 to $3,000 on.
That's nothing compared to what I've heard some people say.
Yeah,
It's-
sure, and that's I've played.
To be fair, it's almost 2 decades now.
And I because you know him, I don't want to be polite to you at all.
and that's fair.
But in reality, I mean, everyone, until our community and our culture finally grabs on to the fact that if you're looking for the leaders of business, corporations, of the innovative thinker, of the creative types, if you're looking for them, go down and find where someone's throwing some magic cards at, and you'll find them there. If you want to find the people that are actually able, that are creative minds, they're the same ones that have down in the basement AD&D,
Behind the screens,
first
yeah.
edition,
Yeah.
that just every once in a while blow off, give it a snuggle, and put it back.
Yep.
So, $2,000 on a hobby over a decade. If you compare that to someone that rebuilds cars and sells them, $2,000.
Yep.
I mean, you're looking at maybe a exhaust, and that's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Right.
nothing. That's a drop in the bucket for something that actually you get to spend so much time enjoying
Yeah.
and finding people that make you that are besides him that make you feel halfway decent about yourself, or
Sure.
at least that you like hanging out with.
Sure, exactly.
Right.
And,
Right.
You know,
yeah.
maybe at worst some frenemies. Those
Oh, yeah.
aren't
At
so
worst,
bad.
yeah.
I mean, and that's what's great is when you do, there are people out there that you can play once or twice, and you're like, oh, I hate their deck so much. I want to play you again. I'm going.
It's time for revenge.
Right. And you're just like, I hate it. I hate it so much. Why am I still playing you? Because I am too stupid to literally realize that your deck is unbeatable. That's just there is no unbeatable
such thing.
decks.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's gonna have a bad draw one day, and you're gonna be like, blam. But
Most every game that that we nerd types get into, that's what makes the game fun. Is that
It's
the game
the
is
challenge,
the game's
man.
made well. It gets to be popular and whatnot. It's going to be somewhat balanced, hopefully, and so therefore that's what makes it fun. Is that you can go up and the competition, being able to sit down with somebody, and kick the crap out of them in game, and reserve, the urge and hold that back to dive over the table, towards them if they, completely and utterly embarrass
As
you.
long as you can laugh about it afterwards.
Yeah, totally.
We had that moment.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, in
Yeah.
the NES. I was in charge of the city, and he came up to me. He's like, "Yeah, I'm taking your spot. There's no mercy about it, but I'll buy you dinner afterwards." And we laugh about it. And we still do. I mean,
You gotta buy him dinner. I mean, if you're gonna put the screws to him, if you know what I mean, you gotta buy him dinner afterwards.
pretty much.
And
I mean, it's customary.
right.
wow.
Yeah, and you end up getting screwed anyway, so I'm happy.
Was that? Oh, don't.
Yeah.
totally.
Next up on
Totally.
I tap that, I think this becomes a dirty moment. This feels
It does
horrible.
become a dirty
Yeah, but
moment.
but
we might let it. We're not gonna let it go. We might. I don't know. I
Let's
haven't
be
decided
PG-13.
yet.
Just,
Yeah.
they just had a date. They're
No.
describing their date, and it's actually
It's
kind
not
of
a
romantic.
date if everybody else is there. We were watching.
It's true, Logan. Yeah, that we're watching.
I don't know if that's the way that you want that to sound. I don't think that's the way that you want.
Yeah, that's how. it works.
Without getting into details, there were supervisors,
Yeah, there's-
and there were people watching, and there were some people who were
Make the bad man stop talking. Make the bad man stop talking.
Okay, all right. Okay, so bring it back.
Anyway,
Okay.
to bring it back.
I would like to point out, though, that one of the things that also comes out of all that is even moments like these are some of the most epic stories.
Yeah.
These are this generation, this group of people, they're storytellers. I mean, there's a reason why that's what the name is.
Yeah.
There's storytellers, and I'll give me a group of people that are telling me about bad card draws, and even though I don't understand everything, and I'm kind of catching on, there's an energy to the story. It's interesting, and you can tell it's so much more interesting than. Did you see the football game last night? They were
Yeah.
throwing the football.
that basketball game. Yeah,
Ooh,
well,
the sports points.
go local sports team.
Yeah.
No. You ever want to see something really cool? You ask a storyteller to tell you, make like something out of the basketball game, because the storyteller will have dragons or something transform out of the
Dragons,
hoop, or
yeah.
the basketball turned into this
a
dragon
skull
egg.
or
Yes.
an egg or
Right, and the egg
Yeah,
hatched,
more
and there was a
mana.
leviathan that came out, and then you'd be like, well, thanks for burning down the game.
Mm.
And it would be more interesting by far.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I mean, storytellers have that natural ability to be awesome. Yes.
Why? Thank you.
Not you. All right, guys. So now we're getting to that point where we're running out of time.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that we tapped all of our subjects today. So once again, we tapped that. Wouldn't you say, Darrin? You're tapping. All right, there you go. Look at that. Okay.
I
Okay.
tapped.
There you go. Go ahead and tap. Might as well. Take it. Just tap it. Tap it. There you go.
good.
Yes.
I know
there
how
you
to
go.
tap.
There you go.
All right.